All right, we're recording. So today is the 9th of February. We are in the midst of the cup. So if you are not on a cup team, you are missing out. I have seen some amazing things within Team Relentless because of the cup. And that's one thing that I tell everybody every time Beachbody announces that we're going to have a cup challenge coming up, is that yes, you like to win prizes. And yes, I'd love to see everybody in Team Relentless's name on the leaderboard. Like Melissa Galmay's up there. Somebody else on the team, sorry, I forgot. I'd love to see that. But what happens when you're on a cup team is the relationships are formed, the strategies come together, the leaders emerge. And, you know, I'm watching, for instance, Cassandra's team. They have weekly calls together. They're pushing one another. We have a little group message going where I send voice records every day and giving tips, and Shelly's chiming in. That's what it's all about is, you know, like I said, I'd love for you guys to place on the leaderboard. I'd love for you to qualify for all the prizes. But what I want you more than anything to do is to learn how to work together, strategize together, build a relationship, because that is really the root of why most of us are here, the relationships that we have formed along the way. If you haven't been following the series that I've been doing, I have them recorded and on my YouTube. The 17th is going to be the third of 5 calls that I've been doing. I've been sharing the emotional side of coaching, and this is something that I feel we've neglected to do. Everybody says, talk about your why, and wherein that's very important. I know myself, and maybe you can relate too, that when you started this journey, it was all about you. It was all about getting fit, looking good, feeling good. And then, you know, your coach said, oh, you can make some money, and, you know, okay. And honestly, money was the biggest motivator for most people in the beginning, because that's the only way you can track your success. Even if you sold a challenge pack to somebody, you have to wait 7 days for them to start, you know, and sometimes they don't get started right away. So money is a big motivator. But then there's this other thing, this shift that comes along as we stay on the team. And that's one thing that I think that we haven't been I haven't been pushing Team Relentless to do, is to share what we're going to give back, because everybody wants to know what they're going to get. And so I've been sharing little stories about the impact it's made on our families, the things that our team has a vision for and what we want to do. And I've had some really good reception from it. I've had a couple coach signups. Some people surprised me, and I know that Melissa's team has added a few people from the calls. So I urge you to invite people. So you have between now and the 17th, which I think is a week, like 8 days away, to invite 5 people a day to join these calls. I'm keeping them to 30 minutes so that people don't get bored. I'm doing prizes for people, you know, to compensate them for their time. And it gives them the background of coaching of what they don't see if they just go on our Facebook profiles. So that's one thing that if you're a new coach, make sure, I know that it doesn't happen all at once. If you could go back and look in my albums and see the first posts I did as a coach for the first like 2 years, it was already embarrassing. So we all do that, but just try to follow what we're doing and share your story more than the sales. Today we did for the first time ever, Team Relentless live power hour. And it was great. There were so many Team Relentless coaches that were able to make it on their lunch, or that they work from home. But we are going to do this from now on every Tuesday at 12:30 Central Standard Time. You are more than welcome to jump on. I will tell you that it made me do all the things I needed to do, because people were sitting right there in front of me. I've been, you know, there's things that I freak out about that I don't have confidence about. And I did it because we had a screen full of people doing it. And we set timers, like, you know, 10 minutes for inviting, 10 minutes for starting new conversations, and it held us accountable. So if that time doesn't work for you on Tuesdays, set a time with your accountability partner or your upline or somebody to hold you accountable. Because I'll tell you, I friended 5 people, and 3 of them accepted my request within that hour. And then one person that I started a conversation with, who I've been talking to, text messaged me and then requested a phone call. And I talked to her for about 30, 45 minutes at 4 o'clock today. And on Friday, she's going to order. So obviously there's results that happen. So I highly recommend that you do that. If you're not doing these things consistently, your business will not grow. And the last thing before I turn it over to Brad is that I've been in this business almost 4 years. Monday will be 4 years since I've been a coach. I have watched so many coaches come and go. I'm telling you, from Diesel Nation, from my team, from people that I've sponsored, I've watched people come back to me. But what I'm seeing now is that I'm at Success Club 11 right now in this month. And I want to let all of you new coaches know that 9 of those points, or 7, hold on, where's my math? 8 of those points all came from people that have been following me or have been watching me for 3 years. So I beg of you to keep doing the things that we teach you to do, the 3 vital behaviors consistently, not for 4 or 5 days and then disappear for a month, not for a month and then disappear for 2 weeks. Do it consistently and promise me you'll be here for in a year. Because I'm telling you, I'm watching people on my team who've just stuck in there and done what I asked them to do and duplicated what I've done, which I learned from my coach. And now it's blossoming. You have to have patience. And you have to have, belief in this and keep doing it consistently more than anything. And realize that this is a business. My coach and her sister made $1 million in 5 years doing this. I have made more money than I would have made in 10 years staying at my old job. So you can do this. It's just you have to consistently do it, and you have to see it as a business. Whether you invested $39.95 or $140 for a challenge pack, you invested in a business and treat it like $1 million business. And act like it's a business, and it will pay like a business. So I just ask you to be here a year from now, still doing what you're doing. So anyways, I asked Brad. We met a couple years ago at one of the events. I love him because he has so much energy. And if you love Trey Bear, you're going to love Brad. He has just super awesome energy. And we're having more men on our team. So I'm trying to find more dudes to talk to us, especially for all you ladies who are sitting there waiting for your husbands to do what Ryan did and finally come around 4 years later, that maybe this can, they can hear it in the background. So I am going to unmute Brad, and I want to thank everybody for getting on this call, because each week more and more of you are getting on the call, and you know what? It makes me excited for Tuesday. Before, it was depressing to get on here and be like, hello, 5 more minutes, and crickets. So thank you for everyone who's showing up and getting their team to show up. All right, Brad, you got it.
Awesome. Mindy, well, thank you very much. I'm pumped for tonight. By the way, I hope you guys have bourbon or a glass of wine. I don't know if anyone has bourbon or anything, but that's what I'm sipping on tonight. Anyways, I wanted to, or water if you're following the program pretty strictly. But by the way, Mindy, I am stealing a couple of those ideas, the Power Hour Live thing, stealing that idea and totally doing it. So anyways, I appreciate you guys' time tonight and your time to be on the call. It's really cool to see that you guys are committed to continuous learning. And that's one of the signs of really successful people. They don't see this as a chore. They see continuous learning as a privilege, and it's cool to be here with you guys. And some of you guys, maybe I've met in person before. I know Minnie and I met a couple of years ago, but hopefully get to meet you on the cruise. And so my goal tonight is to talk to you guys about, and this is what I'm about to say is going to turn you off to the call, but my goal tonight is going to talk to you about goal setting, but not in the normal way that you would think about goal setting, not in the write it down and you need to make sure they're SMART goals and boring shit like that. No, I'm going to talk about the kind of the psychology behind why we take action on the goals that we have. And so we're going to set goals, we're going to take massive action to get there, and we're going to come away with a toolbox full of resources we can use when negative thoughts or overwhelm or laziness come into our mind, which happens for all of us. Me being 3 years in this weekend, it'll be my 3-year anniversary as a coach. I still face that. So understanding this stuff isn't stuff that I just came up with. It's stuff that I've grown with through personal development. And this is stuff that experts have taught me. And through tonight, you'll be able to see how that third vital behavior, that personal growth, and learning from experts in that area really does make a difference, not just on your business, but your quality of life with your family. So if you are dissatisfied in any way with your business right now, I really want to encourage you to get excited, because dissatisfaction is a gem. It is an amazing thing if you're dissatisfied. And tonight there are going to be a lot of little nuggets that you can take away, but I don't want you guys to focus on writing all of that stuff down. Focus on the 2 or 3 things that really hit you. Write those things down and take action on them immediately. So you guys came prepared tonight with a goal, right? With one goal in mind, a big goal by the end of the year. I just want to hear a couple of them real quick. Someone unmute themselves and say what your end of year goal is. What's your huge goal by the end of the year? Let's get 3 people. Let's get a new coach, a seasoned coach, and a coach that's just like old balls, been around for a while. Let's get one of each. And you got to unmute yourself. You can't type.
Ryan said he'll be an old balls coach.
What's that?
Ryan said he'll be the old balls coach.
He'll be the old balls coach? Nice.
Uh,
what goes
My goal is 10-star diamond in my first CBC, 2-star in my second, and diamond in my third.
Oh, hell yeah. That's awesome. That's awesome. What else we got?
And a 2-time elite.
Woo! That's pretty sweet. Awesome. So is that Melissa? That's awesome, Melissa. Anyone else have some pretty big goals?
Hey, Ryan's trying to talk. He was the one
Oh.
to say something. So,
Sorry, go ahead, Ryan. My bad.
kind of hard to carry after Melissa after that. Thanks a lot, Melissa.
Way to go. No, I'm pushing for 5-star by Summit. Realistically, I think I can do 4, but that's my goal.
That's awesome. That's awesome, man. Okay, 5-star by Summit. Kim's got diamond by Summit. Give me one more good one. One more good one.
Can I go ahead?
Yeah.
5-star elite. Yeah,
Oh,
that's what I'm going for.
you guys got some big goals. That's awesome. Okay, so right there, you guys already achieved something that 99% of people who set goals don't. You wrote it down and you know what the hell it is. So takeaway, before we get into the cool stuff, take away that the most basic fundamental of what that goal is knowing what it is, not just in your head, but writing it down. And if it's just in your head and you're not reading it every single day, it's the exact same thing as like rubbing a magic lantern and hoping a genie pops out and grants you a wish, right? Write it down and read it every single day. So let's dive into this. And the reason I wanted to talk about that is because I want you guys to focus on what you really want to achieve in this. So why don't we achieve goals? Why don't we? And, when people fail to achieve what they want, it's really simple. And the biggest illusion in life that people have is that we believe that we're missing the resources to achieve goals. Some fear has convinced us that in relation to coaching, but this can apply to all categories of life, some fear has told us that we either don't know enough people or don't know how or don't have the time or don't have the money. But that is not the problem. The problem is a lack of resourcefulness. And I'll prove it to you right now. So let's use that example. Let's use an example with the most basic thing of what we do, and that's Success Club. That's the minimum expectation to see success as a coach. It's the bare minimum of your job. And we always hear from new coaches or coaches that are struggling in this business, I don't have time for more conversations, or I don't know enough people. And I'll let you have that illusion for a couple seconds, but I want you guys to picture the person in your life that you absolutely love the most. Or maybe it was a baby you just had, or your spouse, or your pet, or if you're not with someone currently, focus on a family member that just makes you so incredibly happy. And think of the experiences that you've had with them. And just picture that for a second. Now imagine for 1 second that you found out that they had a terminal illness and that you had limited time with them. And you can't leave your job because you need to pay for their medical treatments. But you also know that you have this Beachbody coaching opportunity that can grow into something amazing and change your financial future and allow you to earn money to stay home with them the remainder of their life. So now all of a sudden, the reason I bring that up, now all of a sudden, how resourceful would you be? How hard would Success Club really be if you had that situation? It'd be pretty easy, right? How about Success Club 10? It'd be easy. Why? Because we have a purpose behind it. And all of a sudden, those things that are oh so hard to do before become really simple because you're resourceful, because you have a reason to do it. So I just proved right there that the biggest illusion in life that we have is that we're missing the resources. No, it's a lack of resourcefulness. So how do we get resources? And it's very simple. It comes from human emotion. Emotion is the driver of finding resources. So what's the way that you're thinking about the problem you're facing? Maybe it's thinking about your coaches doing something, or maybe it's focusing on helping your spouse to support you in this. Which way are you looking at it? Are you frustrated? Are you overwhelmed? Are you bored? Or are you determined and passionate and excited? So get out of your own head, because when you're emotional about something coming true, that emotion drives your resourcefulness and leads to the right decisions. And that's something I want to talk about right now is decisions. Every outcome you guys are facing in your business, in your life, are driven by your choices, right? Every action you take has a reason for taking it. Every action is fathered and mothered by a decision in your mind. So if you wonder why your life it is the way it is right now, look at the choices you've made over the last 1 year, 5 years, 10 years, 15 years. It will give you a very, very good indicator of why you are where you are. I look at my life and some of the decisions that I made in the beginning. In the beginning, I made a decision to come out of school and start a job that I disliked. I made a decision to spend money poorly and wound up broke. I made a decision to break up with Janice back when I was in college. That's my fiance, and it left me depressed. But on the other side of it, there's also that decision to get back together with her that led me to happiness. There's the decision to become a Beachbody coach and work with an amazing team full of people that's led me to fulfillment. There's the decision to invite every day, and that's getting me closer and closer to financial freedom, right? So it's those kind of decisions. They're indicators of where your life is. So take an honest look at what decisions you're making. And you could say, but this situation happened to me. Maybe there's a death in the family, or maybe something happened that's unfortunate that you didn't cause. And I'm sure there's some shit that happened to you that wasn't fair. And while I do sympathize with that, and maybe it wasn't fair, and maybe it's your boss telling you to work more hours. The reality is that everybody has good times and everyone has crap times. Because in those tough times, if you really think about it, how was your decision on how you responded? Did you decide to let it completely control you? Or did you decide to do something and respond to the situation in a different way instead? So there's 3 situations, 3 decisions that can make any situation change the outcome of what we want. And tonight's call isn't just about Beachbody coaching. This is going to apply to everything in life. So the first decision is decide what you're going to focus on. So if you focus on fear, it becomes very real. If you focus on why you don't have, you will have less. If you focus on why things are not, they will never be. But if you focus on what you want, your brain can't tell the difference between a desire and like a vivid desire and a reality. And you'll find a way to be resourceful. A lot of people focus on what they can't control, like the economy, or if someone says no, or the weather, right? Or other people's actions. And when you focus on that, why something is, you're going to get stressed out. But if you focus on what you can control, your decisions, your thoughts, the meaning you give to different situations, your choices, you can become happy. So whatever you focus on, you're going to feel, regardless of if it's true or not. Focus equals reality to the individual. Let me repeat that. Focus equals reality to the individual. So that's the first thing. We'll expand on that in just a minute. The second decision is, what does this mean? And we'll cover more on this in just a few minutes. But in general, is the situation painful or is it awesome? Because whatever meaning you're associating with any experience becomes reality. I'll give you very specific examples in a little bit. But it becomes what you believe. And the third decision is, what am I going to do about it? So if you're disappointed or angry or sad or frustrated or upset or lazy, you aren't going to do something that well, right? Think about how much different it is. If you're angry or disappointed or sad or frustrated or lethargic, are you going to act differently than if you're grateful and happy and excited? Like, how would the outcome change for you? So if you're worried or overwhelmed, will you act differently than if you're determined? Or, the meaning that you choose, keyword choose, to associate with every situation determines the action that you take. Let me repeat that real quick. The meaning that you choose to associate with every situation determines the action that you take. So how do you break this? How do you break this and decide to take action on your goals? You practice. It's not going to be easy to change it, but you can condition your mind to change how you feel. So every situation and every circumstance, regardless of if they're negative or positive, they can be a powerful thing in your life with practice. So all of a sudden, guys, not knowing enough prospects can mean there's an opportunity to meet more people. All of a sudden, being broke can mean there's an opportunity to learn the mindset of financially free individuals and happily wealthy people. All of a sudden, being at a job that you dread every day can mean that you're helping your company succeed and you're having the opportunity to be noticed as a great employee. And this can apply down to your coaches, right? I used to blame, an example here of how you shift that is, I used to blame my mom so much for my circumstance in life. And the reason for that is because I was in a lot of debt. She stole a lot of money from me. And until recently, I blamed her for the amount of debt that I was in. I blamed her for negative feelings I had as a kid growing up and being inadequate or not enough. I blamed her for feeling like nothing and the emotional abuse that I got as a kid. But all of a sudden, when I practice what I'm teaching you guys in a little bit, I changed the meaning that I associated with it. So if you think about this, if I'm going to blame her for those things, I now have to blame her for my drive to be successful. I now have to blame her with how much I love people. I now have to blame her for the example that she taught me on what not to do in a marriage. And therefore, I'm such a better fiance to Janice because of my mom. So in any situation, you control what something means to you. All I did to change the entire relationship with my mother was just change what it meant to me. And you can do that for every situation when it comes to taking action on your goals. So the action that you're going to take with Beachbody, we'll talk about that in a little bit, but you can change it because it can turn into an opportunity. So every morning, I have a list of things that A, I'm grateful for in my life, and B, that I want to happen in my life. And so as I walk my dog every single morning, in my mind, I cycle through those things and I condition my mind to focus. Like we talked about, focus becomes reality. I condition my mind to focus on what I want instead of what I don't want. So that action alone can change your entire life. Think about it. If you wake up and your spouse is rushed to work and they don't give you a kiss goodbye and your dog shits on the carpet and you have to go to a job that you hate, how is your day going to go? How is your day going to go if you start out your day that way? Pretty shitty, right? It wouldn't be fun. But think about this. Would your entire day change if you focused on in the morning, the first thing you focused on when you woke up is, wow, I'm so incredibly grateful that I have a job, that I have the ability to earn an income. I'm grateful to be married to an amazing woman. And I have this dog that makes me smile and laugh all the time. Think about that. Just that small change. Would that make a significant impact in how you go about your day if you focus on what you're grateful for every morning before you start your day? Wouldn't your happiness level change because you focused on the positive things in your life? And even if your dog shits on the carpet, or even if you're going to a job that you hate, you still realize, you still have it in perspective that life is good and you can change the world around you that way. It can change the goals that you have. So be grateful for them coming true. So once you're done focusing on what you're grateful for, focus on the goals that you have coming true. Be grateful for them coming true. Think about it. If I focus on how I don't have enough people to invite, or how I'm tired today, or that I don't have time to do this, how would my day be different if instead I focused on, all right, I'm pumped for today because I'm pushing for a goal of 5-star diamond rank by Summit. I'm going to focus on 2-time elite coach. I'm focused on working hard towards my passion and creating freedom in my life and for my family. And I'm grateful to be able to walk across stages at Summit as an elite coach next year. How does your day change? Are you worried or are you pumped up? Think about it. Your view of life, your perspective on situations determine your future. So every single day, if you do those things, condition your mind to focus on being grateful and for what you want. And all of us, all that anxiety, that overwhelm, that depression, that fear, that thing that makes you sit on the couch and watch Netflix, right? Instead of doing your invites, you're going to slowly start to notice that it's going to go away. And you're going to become more and more excited every day. All that stress, all stress really is, guys, is a code word for fear. That's all stress is. Stress comes from associating the meaning that something is more important than it really is. Tony Robbins is the mentor that taught me this. He talks about how most people major in minor things. They focus on things that don't really mean that much. So train your mind like you train a bicep, right? Control your decisions. Condition yourself to be your absolute best. The quality of your life is always going to be in direct proportion to the quality of your emotions on a daily basis. I'm going to repeat that. The quality of your life is always going to be in direct proportion to the quality of your emotions on a daily basis. So in any moment in time, you can be upset about anything. because what's wrong is always available to you. What's wrong in your life is always available to you, but so is what's right. So push against those problems instead of giving into them. Everyone has shit in their lives. Everyone has hard times. Sure, sometimes it's a little worse, sometimes it's a little easier, but everyone has problems. The only people that don't have problems are in cemeteries. If you don't have problems, you don't have a life. Problems are resistance that you push against to sculpt your character. That's all it is. That's all problems are. So take this and make the primary emotions of life the ones you actually want, because you literally control it. And when you view your life as awesome, and your job is awesome, and your family is awesome, and your financial situation is an opportunity, it doesn't just affect you. It affects everybody around you. Everyone around you will notice that you're electric, and people give it back. People give it back. So I want to go in now to some action items. And this is a little bit more elementary, but it's an important concept before I move on. So step one is really know your outcome. Decide what you want right now. And it sounds like you guys did that. Decide what you want and focus on it. Make yourself want it right now. And it's a must achieve right now, because when you do, you empower your brain to focus and produce results right now. And then continually focus on that target. Remember, gratitude and what we want, that needs to be your focus. The second thing is take action on that, and we'll talk about the actual action in a little bit and the psychology behind it. But think about it like this. If you try it and it doesn't work, you got an education. That means failure is a good thing, right? If you try it and it doesn't work, you got an education. And you got to take action immediately. And sure, you might be afraid, and that's okay. There is nothing wrong with being afraid. I asked an NFL football player to be a Beachbody coach the other day. I was terrified to do that. Terrified. I asked an NFL football player to be a Beachbody coach. Fear is good, as long as it's a counselor and not a jailer. Fear is good as long as it is a counselor and not a jailer. Think about that. Step 3, notice the results you're getting from the actions you're taking or your inactions. You have to know the impact of what you're doing. If you aren't getting results and you aren't inviting people, don't BS yourself. Don't lie to yourself and pretend that you're actually doing the activities of a Beachbody coach. Be honest with yourself about the results. No invites, no wonder you're not in Success Club, right? Be honest about the results of your action. And step 4 is change your approach and try something else. Tony Robbins gives the example of a baby walking. Think about this. How long would you let a baby try to walk before making it stop, right? Before making it stop trying to walk, right? You wouldn't. You'd let them keep trying to walk. Same thing here. Just course correct. Figure it out as you go. If you fail, it just means you got an education. And step 5 is accelerate your progress. And how you do that is find someone that's done what you want and follow their example. If you have a goal of elite, find an elite coach and study them. If you ask them for help, if you want to be a millionaire, talk to Delgado or Becky, right? Ask them. Success leaves clues. So if you see someone having success, it's not on accident. They didn't stumble into fulfillment. Success leaves clues. So do what successful people recommend to do, right? So now pause, and this is kind of an action step. Real quick, I want to kind of shut up for a second, and I want you guys to take a look at that goal, that big goal that you have for the end of the year. And real quick, 30 seconds, write down 3 actions that you know you need to take to achieve it. Just write it down real quick, and I'll shut up for a second. Actually, write it down too, because having it in your head doesn't really work. About 15 more seconds, guys. Okay, so you know the goal you want to achieve, and now right there, you have those 3 actions. And what we're going to do is get to the emotional side of taking action on those in just a second. So first, before you do it, you're going to have to cut off all ties, meaning there is no backup plan. You need to decide to do it right now, not try. Not I know what I need to do, because saying I know is really just giving yourself an excuse to stop. Not saying I know what I need to do, but decide with no backup plan that this is what you're going to do. And the next thing here is a big piece. This is probably, if there's one thing you can take away from this call, it's this next thing that I'm going to go through. And this is a huge piece, and it's about associating pain and pleasure to those actions. So, and going through this exercise by yourself will be fantastic. When you have those action items right there, I'm not going to really spend the time actually going through with an individual situation, like with what you guys are facing in your goals, but go through this and actually really dive into writing it down, because it can really make or break the action you take, and it will give you an honest look at how silly some of the decisions that we make are when it comes to achieving our goals. So we know our big goal that we need to achieve right now. And I didn't say want to achieve. Like, for example, Ryan, if your goal is 5-star by summit and it turns from I want to achieve 5-star by summit to I absolutely must achieve 5-star by summit, different mentality right there. So we know the big goal of what we need to achieve. And we know the 3 action steps that we absolutely must take. And they're the way to get to our dreams. But oftentimes there's that mental block, right? Where, I don't know if you guys are like me, where I used to know exactly what I needed to do. And I used to know exactly what I needed to do, but I would find myself on the couch. Or I would find myself going through my follow-up list and changing the date to tomorrow. And just, I can follow up with them tomorrow. And I used to do that so much. And there's that mental block that goes on up there. So we know how important inviting on a daily basis is, right? And how it's the most important thing that will actually produce results. But we avoid it. It's the most important thing, but we avoid it. It's what successful people recommend to do, but we don't do it. And we know how we absolutely must find time for personal growth, but we perceive it as not important sometimes. And we know that doing our workouts and drinking Shakeology benefit all aspects of our life, not just our health, but our business too, but we slack there too. And why is that? And it has to do with pain and pleasure. All humans, every single human, all of our decisions are driven by our thoughts and our need to either avoid pain or gain pleasure. And how we associate pain and pleasure to each situation makes a big impact here. So procrastination. Think about this. Why do we procrastinate? Why do we do it? It's very simple. We think that taking action on something would be more painful than doing nothing. And we experience less pain by doing nothing. Human beings are hardwired. Our brains do so much to avoid feeling pain. It will literally fight us to avoid pain at all costs. So if there's ever a decision about an action, we'll always choose the lesser of the 2 pains. So how do we get through this? And the answer is awareness. Like we talked about, our reality is based on what we focus on. So if you focus on the pleasure you get from inviting long-term instead of the pain that you get from doing it, you'll do it. And you can link, and I'll teach you how to do this in a second, you can link not taking action on something as more painful. So you're essentially using pain and pleasure instead of having them use you. So we won't do this now because of time, but those 3 action steps, I actually, as a homework today, I want you guys to go through on your 3 actions and actually do this. And don't do it in your head. It does not work. I promise you it will not work if you do it in your head. Actually write it out. Those 3 actions, you'll be amazed at what you write. So here's an example. Step 1 of your homework is, what are the 3 actions that you need to take? Identify them. You already did that, so that part's already done. And let's say, for this example that I'm going to share with you, one of my actions is that I need to invite 3 people a day to the coaching opportunity. Let's just say that's what it is. If I'm pushing for 15-star elite and I need to invite a crap ton of coaches, let's just say that one of my actions is to invite 3 people to the coaching opportunity every day. Number 2, step 2 of your homework. What is the current pain that you associate with taking action on it? Actually write it out. What is the current pain you associate with taking action on it? So for example, with the example of 3 coaches a day, inviting 3 coaches a day, 1 is it takes up time. 2 is maybe we're afraid of being rejected. 3 is maybe we'd rather have people come to us. Maybe it's self-doubt that I can actually be successful in leading people. Maybe it's that you feel uncomfortable. Whatever it is, the answer is different for everyone. But whatever it is, actually write out what is the current pain that you're associating with taking action on it. Why do you not want to do it? What's the fear involved? There is a fear somewhere. And it can be as simple as maybe my spouse will get upset with me. It can be anything. So step 2 is, what is the current pain you associate with taking action on it? Step 3 is, what is the pleasure that you associate from not following through? And there's actually something you're getting from not taking action on your goals. There's actually something you're getting out of it. So, for example, in the situation of inviting coaches, not taking action on it might mean that I have more time with my challengers, maybe. Maybe it means that I have more time with Janice. Maybe it means I can watch more Netflix. Maybe it means I can walk my dog more. Whatever it is, actually write out what are the things that you're actually gaining from not following through, because there is something. And step 4, this is where you're going to have just a ridiculous eye opener. When it's not when doing your head, but when you write it down, you're going to have an eye opener here. Literally write out and actually do this. What will it cost me 2 years down the road if I don't change? What will it cost me 2 years down the road if I don't change? What is the long-term pain associated with this? So in this example, I won't achieve 15 star. I won't achieve Millionaires Club. I'll find myself at events feeling like I wish I was up there on stage. I'll stay in debt longer. I'll feel like a failure. I'll feel like my parents did. I won't give my future kids a stress-free lifestyle that I crave for them. I'll always feel stressed. I'll always feel overwhelmed. I'll always feel like I'm playing catch up. Janice will have to stay at her job longer. I won't be fulfilling my purpose. Think about that. If you actually write out the pain long-term of what you're from not doing it, it's powerful. And if you think about it, what's the alternative? What's really more painful to you? Some opinion that someone might have, or staying in the exact same place in your life, ending up in the exact same spot? And let's add a kicker to that. Step 5 is, what will I gain 2 years from now by taking action immediately? What will I gain by taking action immediately? And so for this example, a life of complete and total freedom, 100% of my debt paid off. I'll be a leader within the Team Beachbody community. We'll be able to have our dream wedding. We'll be able to influence more lives. I'll grow into an incredible leader, and I'll be on a path to retire my parents early. What am I gaining out of it, right? Think about the gravity of that. What is really more scary? Being scared of what someone might say, or staying in the exact same spot in your life? What's more pleasurable, a little bit of TV time and time with your dog, or complete and total freedom to do what most people can't in their life? So you get good at this. Takes time to practice it, but you get good at this by continually practicing this. Repetition is the mother of skill, and you are in complete control of this. So by just knowing, just knowing that you can avoid it will never work. You'll never escape your way to fulfillment and passion. You will never escape your way to fulfillment and passion. So if you're looking at your dreams and that action and you're pushing it off and procrastinating, understand that you will never escape your way to fulfillment and passion. So think about this. Your big goal this year is a couple of mental decisions away from complete fulfillment, and that's it. Just a couple of decisions. Get to the point where you absolutely must change. If it's a should or if it's a want to, you'll be stuck and you will not achieve it. And that's what I did with Elite this year. I missed Elite by 3 points. I had 132 Elite points. I hit Premier by a lot, but I had 132 Elite points. And I came up short because for the first 3 quarters of the year, I focused on how I should hit Elite, not that I must. When it turned to a must, everything exploded. So we all get what we have to have. Go back to that example from the beginning of the call about terminal illness, right? If you absolutely must create time to spend with them, then all backup plans go out the window and you just do. You just do. Because when your purpose is deep enough, taking action becomes second nature. You just do it. So be unreasonable about it. Don't settle for what, if your spouse doesn't support you in the beginning, don't settle for that. Don't settle for what most people outside say. If you agree with most people, you are in trouble. Be ridiculous. My grandpa always used to say this: yours is the obligation to make yourself stand out from the crowd. That is a fantastic quote. Do that. Be ridiculous and be unapologetic about it. Break away from a culture that tells you to be less than you can really be. People will always try to limit you, but it's all going on up here. If I listened in the beginning to the opinions of other people about me doing Beachbody, then I would not be living a life of total freedom of choice right now. Never apologize for being different. What makes you different is what's going to help other people succeed. So whatever we focus on consistently, we experience in life. So if you have big dreams of leaving your job this year, you can have that. You can have that. It is a choice up here. You have to condition your mind to focus on it. and practice associating more pain to not doing the action than to doing it, and link so much pleasure to getting that goal done and so much pain to not getting it done that you have to take action. Get out of the life where you aren't really that happy, but you aren't unhappy enough to do anything about it yet. Get out of that. All Beachbody is, and this is kind of where we get in the more emotional side of it as I kind of finish here. All Beachbody is, guys, is a vehicle to get you to your purpose. It's not your life. It should never be your life. It's a vehicle that gives you a life. It's a tool you use to meet your emotional needs. We all have the same ones, right? Maybe to finally be comfortable, to have more spice of life, more variety, maybe feeling significant or connected or loved by other people. But most likely all of our needs really surround the idea of growing into better people and contributing to the world, right? And Beachbody can help us meet all of those. And I'll give you a little bit of a tip that has made the biggest difference in my life. Whatever you, and this goes to anything, not just coaching, but one second. But whatever you want to feel, give it. Give whatever you want to feel. Most people want to feel significant, to be loved, to feel important, right? I know I do. I sure as hell want to feel loved and feel significant, right? Just imagine how much of an impact it would make on other people. Think about it with your inviting. If you deeply tried to make someone feel loved and important and significant when you invite them, how great will they feel? Even if they decide, how great will you feel? Even if they decide not to move forward with this, think about it. Like, won't it be a positive experience still? So instead of, hey, I'm running a challenge group and I need 3 more people. Why not, hey, Mindy, I was thinking about you today, and I haven't talked to you in a while, and I remember all those times we used to have in college, and I missed those, and, seriously, you're an amazing person, and you're so much fun to be around. I'd love to hear how you're doing and see how you've been. I can imagine you've been working really hard at your job lately. How have you been? What's been new with you? Give what you want to feel, and you will feel what you gave. If you say, hey, I'm running a challenge group and I need 3 people, are you interested? And they avoid you or say no, how do you feel? You kind of feel shitty, right? You feel inauthentic, whatever. You feel like they were just a pawn, and you kind of feel like you're using them. You don't really feel significant, right? But what if you go the other way? What if you did the second way I talked about it? I can guarantee you that their response will make you feel just as great as you made them feel, even if they say no. This business is about authentic relationships. Give that if you want to receive it. So guys, there isn't a secret to this business. You know the 4 vital behaviors. You know to invite. You know to be proof the products work. You know to consistently grow yourself. You know to recognize people for their actions. So instead of asking, what do I need to do? Because you already know, and if you don't, it's in your training. It's not about how, because you already know how. Ask yourself what the result you want is. Focusing on what you need to do just makes you overwhelmed. Focus on what you want, and you'll feel energized and excited. You've got to be honest with yourself about where you're at. Honesty is freedom. Nothing will get better unless you admit that something is off, and you have to adjust your beliefs. Belief is literally a feeling of absolute certainty about what something means. That's it. When you feel certain, you can make it happen. Belief controls behavior. And what I'll close with is the power of emotion and thinking beyond goals. This is bigger than Beachbody or rank or Success Club. This is about your life. Our lives are dictated by the emotions that we feel most often. Even if you don't like that emotion, it's where you live. And for example, if you leave your home, regardless of if your house is messy and disgusting, you still come back because it's home, right? It's like a thermostat. The temperature will still get back to where it is. But this is not about denying negative emotion. Negative emotions are very, very real. But it's about using your negative emotion to create positive change. Understand something, guys. How you feel in any moment in time is the result of the meaning you have given to an experience. So, for example, if a man opens the door for a woman and she's happy, why is that? It's not because he opened the door. It's because of what she associates him opening the door to mean. Because think about it. If he opens the door and she's pissed about it, thinking I can do it myself, the event never changed. He still opened the door for her. It's just what she associated with the event, right? So whatever you're feeling at any time is never based on the actual experience, but our interpretation of the experience. It's how we represent our experience. Represent literally means represent. It's how we're telling ourselves what it means. So if something is a negative emotion, don't deny it. Don't deny the negative emotion. Welcome it and learn from it. Here's an example to kind of prove to you what I mean. And I'll show you right now how you can control how you feel in a lot of situations. So actually close your eyes for 1 second. Just do it. Just trust me. Close your eyes for 1 second and imagine that big goal that you have and put yourself in a state of hoping that it comes true. What do you feel when you hope for it? What do you feel when you hope it could happen? Now take it and imagine the goal and put yourself in a state of complete and total expectation that this goal is going to happen no matter what. It's happening right now. What does that feel like? What's the difference, guys? Think about this. You can open your eyes now, but hoping is passive, right? You focus on both possibilities, that it could happen and that it might not happen. But when you focus on expecting, on the other hand, expecting is intent, and it focuses on literally only one possibility, and you're so clear on where you're going because you must have it. So when you look at those states you were in, you were able to hope it came true, yes, but you were also able to expect that it came true, and both had a different emotion associated with it because of the state that you were in. So I just proved right there that in these situations, you can control how you look at it. You can control how you feel about it. Nothing changed from the content of what I said about the goal. I just told you how to choose to expect it to happen. So my point is that you are in control of how you feel. You are in control of the meaning you associate with different situations. And understand that any negative emotion that you're facing has a very positive purpose. It's giving you a signal that something has to change. That's a huge point. A negative emotion is real, but it's giving you a signal that something has to change. Don't make the emotion wrong. Don't make the emotion something that's bad. Use it. Because when you avoid it, the feeling is just going to intensify. So recognize it when you feel it, respect it and appreciate it because you're learning something. Like, for example, being overwhelmed. It is not bad to be overwhelmed. It just means that you need to reevaluate what's most important to you. It means that you're expecting perfection in an imperfect world. That's what overwhelm is, right? So get curious and ask yourself every question that it could really mean. What is this telling me? Like, for example, if your spouse is quiet, and let's say you assume they must be not feeling this relationship as much, right? But what does it really mean? Does it really mean they don't love you? Or does it mean they might just be caught up in something? Does it mean they had a bad day at work? Does it mean that they might need more attention from you? There are countless meanings to every situation. And asking yourself what the emotion really means puts you in control. And you control the response to it. This is not going to be easy. So assess it and take action on what it means. And this goes way beyond goal setting, guys. It goes all the way to why we do what we do. Beachbody is not everything in your life. It's a vehicle you're using to fulfill specific needs. And sure, some things you're going to screw up. But delays are not denials unless you give up. Delays are not denials unless you give up. You don't control events. You don't control if someone says no, if there's a return order, if a coach quits, if a diamond coach quits on you, if it rains, if someone says something, the work that your boss gives you. You don't control events, but you do control what they mean to you. And the meaning of everything is 100% yours. So decide what you really want your life to be about. What's the real purpose for this? For me, I'll share mine, but and I'll show how achievement and a goal or something you can accomplish is not your purpose. For example, financial freedom is not your why. It's not your purpose. Retiring your spouse or leaving your job is not your why. And the reason is because those are achievements that you can fulfill on your path. They're the things that you can check off your list on your way to fulfilling your life's purpose. But for me, the purpose of my life is to be the most happy, genuine, passionate, and loving person that I can be by and helping people by deeply emotionally influencing them to be happy in their lives and improving their unlimited quality of life and immersing them in and discovering new environments they appreciate and finding deep connection in their relationships and being that bridge to helping them become strong and courageous and powerful and living every single day full of passion. That purpose, guys, to illustrate what I mean, that purpose is not something that I can achieve while I'm alive. That's something that people will look back after I'm dead and say that I fulfilled. So look at that when it comes to your purpose. What do you really want to stand for? And how is Beachbody a vehicle in fulfilling that? So guys, I really hope this was helpful. You know, I know you probably came to this call thinking we're going to reverse engineer how to get Success Club 10 for the Team Cup and how to set goals. But the reason I talk about this is because the majority of the results that you get come from the action that you take. And the action you take comes from the meaning you choose to associate with the emotion at that time. And the activities that produce results are known to all of us. We know them. They're in Coach Basics. They're in the training academy in the Coach Online office. The only thing that matters is what goes on up here, because that controls your action. And if you've mastered that, you've mastered achieving your goals, because you will get what you have to have. And you can turn that should into a must. So Mindy, I know I went a little long, but I'll turn it back over to you. I hope that was helpful. And there's 56 comments. Oh my God.
Well, all I have to say is, I'm not saying that I know everything in this business or have it all figured out, but like for me, like I get on these calls, I do trainings, I go to some of these seminars, and it's like I've never had like one of those epic aha moments. And so it gets kind of old, but I will tell you that this has been the best content that I've had in a long time. That I think we all needed, and I just have so many takeaways, and everybody has positive feedback. And just keep going back to what you said. I mean, there's so many great things that you said, but I just want to recap and share my experience, because I learned through experience when taught. You know, you talk about the choices, and I think about whenever I became a coach, I was very salesy. I was just like, come join me, join my challenge group. I didn't even know what a freaking challenge group was at the time, but I was, you know, whatever. People lashed out at me and they were ugly. And I had two choices at that point. And I was very insecure, very fearful, cared very much what people thought. But I thought something about it, I don't know, it was the universe pulling me, said, just keep doing it. And you know what? Today I had this realization when I'm doing the 1 hour power hour call with another cross-line team, with most of my team, like 90% of the people on my team, and somebody knocks on the door, they come in, do their shit, and then at the end, he sees what I'm doing. He's like, oh, my coach is Ashley. And I'm like, Ashley? And she's like, Ashley Mathis, who is somebody in my downline who lives in this town. We are a fucking household name in this tiny town, and we wouldn't be probably, I'm not saying that somebody else couldn't have done it, but probably it wouldn't be known if I had have made the choice, because I was worried about what they said. The person that lashed out at me is still, I'm sorry, overweight and unhappy and negative and drinks all the time. Look where I'm at, and look at all the, I mean, there was 29 people on this call. Look at all these people that are here that wouldn't have this content if I had have made that choice. And so this is the thing, is that it makes a big impact. And what I learned was, I've been really meditating on why I put inviting at the top of the list, but it's always the last thing on the list every day. And I thought, I'm not scared of no. I don't give a shit what anybody thinks of me. I know it works. I believe in it. I'm like, what is it? And I finally realized through some one-on-one calls with my coaches over the last couple weeks, I'm like, oh, it was because all of my coaches that I recruited in 2015, because what I was putting out there was attracting some people that just didn't want to stay, and they weren't the right people. And so I just realized when I was on the call, like I associated the fact that I stopped inviting because I knew that they weren't going to do anything. And I was like, I didn't want to think I was a bad leader, but that wasn't it. I just totally had like an aha moment. I've been let down my whole entire life. And when people do that, I do feel let down, because I feel let down by myself, because like maybe I failed them. And then I feel let down by them because people come in and say they're going to do great things. I get my hopes up because I want this so bad for them, because that's my purpose. I want everybody to accept this and have this amazing lifestyle that I have. And so that's a pain, and something that obviously that's why I go to therapy, that I need to get over, but that's what's stopping me from doing it. So if you really take time to meditate on it, there's some fear that starts way back in childhood, way before you even knew what Beachbody was or Beachbody even existed. Figure it out, get some help, do some personal development, and just go out there and get you some That's all I have to say. Does anybody have any questions for Brad? Unmute yourself, raise your hand.
Nobody?
I think you have everybody just like, wow. Like, I mean, that was, you know, the biggest thing though too, what I'm going to tell all of you is that I posted about this today, is that all of November and all of December, I made my bed. I made sure I did my hair, put my makeup on, because that made me personally feel good about myself instead of looking in the mirror and saying I look like shit, that negative self-talk. But then, like in February, I started going back to old habits. So this is easy that you can implement what Brad told you to do, and I hope that you do go immediately put it into action where it becomes routine. But it is easy to slip backwards. So go back to your notes, have somebody that you can tell your goals to that's going to hold you accountable. And the thing is, go out there and do it. I succeeded because I failed so many times. Luckily, I tell all my new coaches all the things I did to fuck up in the beginning, and there's a lot more training. And so I'm seeing coaches who are doing things faster than I ever have because they learn from my failures. So if you fail, it's okay. Set realistic goals like Adam said. I'm going to do exactly what Mindy and Ryan said, and he did exactly what we told him to do. He didn't just do it when he felt like it. He didn't do it whenever he wasn't scared. He did it, and he said, if I do it for 6 months and I see no results, then I'll quit. Well, after 5 weeks, he did it and he saw results. And you know what? Everything he did, it took a little bit longer for him to get to Emerald, but everything he did was so evident on Facebook, and so he was so excited and so enthusiastic, you know, and he was inviting people to come have fun with him, not just saying contact me or something, you know. He was going out to people and asking them and telling them. He wasn't waiting for them to come to him. And then after 5 weeks, they came along. His wife went Emerald in 2.5 weeks. But the thing with Adam was, everything was so evident that he was doing publicly that when he signed these coaches, they did exactly what he was doing, and now they are succeeding too. So the biggest thing is make sure that what you're putting out there is what you want. Make sure that what you are doing can be duplicated and evident that success is going to happen from it. And my assignment to you, to all the Team Relentless coaches, is today I really posted something about why I was thankful for Beachbody outside of the money thing. But, you know, everybody knows Ryan and I are working hard to fix our marriage, and we were able to just sit down without kids and have a conversation in the middle of the day. And it occurred to me, I remember fighting with him years ago when I was at work, and there's nothing worse than fighting on the phone with your spouse and having him hang up on you, and you're calling back and hang up on you, and you can't get loud because you're at work because you're stupid ass supervisor staring at you, and you're stuck in these walls and you can't fix it. Like, and I thought we could fix it now, you know. And I mean, it's something pretty small. It can't be measured by money or Success Club points, but that's big that I'm able to fix it right now and not stuck in an office just ruminating about it all day long. And then we're able to go to therapy every week because I don't have to ask somebody, can I take off? This is why, and then have the person decide if that's okay. And then I got the call today from one of my best friends, Chris, and a lot of you know him, that he was diagnosed with cancer. He also has an autoimmune disorder. And I'm so thankful because his family is taking care of his grandma. They live in Dallas. He lives in Austin. And I said, I will be there for you anytime you need anything, because he's so far away from his family, and we're family. And I mean, and I didn't even know he existed. I met him on Success Club trip officially 3 years ago in Disney. And we have been so close ever since then. My kids love him. All of my kids love him. And we're pretty devastated, but trying to stay positive. But I know, because of how hard I worked and the choices that I made, that if he really gets sick and he has to undergo God knows what, I literally can pick up, and Ryan and I can pick up and go to Austin and help him, where his family can't as easily do that. And I couldn't have done it if I was still working. So these are the things that are so important, that are things like this you're going to run into 2 years from now, and that's 2 years down the road. But I've been able to be there for my friends in ways that I would have never been able to be there if I still worked, all because of the decisions I made 4 years ago, 3 years ago, 2 years ago, and even 6 months ago, when I decided to get my shit back together and come back and not quit, because I did think about quitting. So I leave you with that. Think truly about what it is the Beachbody has given you. And I kind of reverse engineered it with Melissa Bartow the other day. I said, write down everything, how your life would be had you told me no, or had you stuck to your guns and stayed a discount coach. So whatever it is, I want you to really get that emotional side, and put it out there. I want you to share with people what it is that you're wanting to give back to them, because people want to know what you're going to do for them. It's all about them, because we're taught in society, everyone out for themselves, because we're going to get hurt. That's just the way it is. So put out to the world what you want to give. Everybody has something different, so it doesn't matter if yours doesn't match mine or Melissa's or Shay's or anybody's like that. Just do that. Put it out there. Do me a favor and post something tonight about why you're grateful for Beachbody outside of you paid your car payment or some crap like that. So anyways, that's all I have to say. Please pray for Chris, and please just put all this into action. And thank you, Brad, so much for being on here. I'm going to get it uploaded to YouTube as soon as possible so you can rewatch, share, whatever. The next team call is going to be, I believe, I'm not looking at my calendar, Melissa Bartow, I think, right? Is that right? Yeah, okay. She is on our call, so it's our own Team Relentless next week. And this is always open to the public, so anybody can join. Have a wonderful Tuesday night. And thank you, Brad. You were super awesome. I will never forget this call.
Thank you, Mindy. I appreciate the opportunity. See you guys. You guys are awesome.
All right, bye.